Let me tell you how government works. A government, but for first, a government has to find a way to get wealth. Yeah. A government has to find a way to get wealth. So to start off, guess what's the best thing to do for a government? Is to get property. Because a government has to find a way to generate wealth. How do you generate wealth? You do it by crop and resources. Yeah. So if you don't have wealth and you need to generate wealth, how the hell are you going to generate wealth when there's poor people and people that need to be supported? How are you going to generate wealth? You have to come across a gold mine. Motherfucker, back. And if you don't come across a gold mine, or if you don't have gold, guess what? Motherfucker, back. You gotta have slaves. You gotta have slaves. Or you're not gonna have any wealth. If you have people farming the land and they need to get paid, and they have bills and they have all these things to pay, and they're just mere workers, mere kulaks, your country is never gonna get any wealth. Yeah. The United States built its wealth off slavery. And in slavery being alleviated, then they were able to come with a case to exclude the Negro. And they did that shit by ragtime. And then Jim Crow laws are named after Jim Crow. They made a song, Jim Crow, Jim Cut, Uncle Joe. I'll talk about it. A disabled Negro who was like 6'2", and he was played by the character of Daddy Pop Jim Crow. And Daddy Pop Jim Crow was about 6'2". But he was disabled. So do you think Jim Crow, Jim Cut, Uncle Joe had little hands like a runaway? No, that's what made the song. Because that runaway got little hands. Yeah. That little slave. Yeah. Your rapper, he got that slave type. Your favorite rapper, between 5'3" and 5'11". See, motherfucker, slave master started a breeding farm, and he started breeding Negroes. Yeah, that's what he did. He started breeding Negroes. Slave master. Yeah. So a government comes in and it needs wealth. If a government does not have wealth, how are you going to pay those people in government? How are you going to pay them? How are they going to be able to sustain their life? They need to sustain their life. Those people in government are making a government. They're making a government. The land does not say you have to have this government, you have to have that government, but rather the people and the land warrants a government. Yeah. That's all it is. So a government has to generate wealth. And if a government does not generate wealth, it cannot function. Yeah. A government needs to generate wealth. At least it will not to be able to function. And a foreign government will take control of it and do the necessary to where the yoke will be the yoke. Now a government is like a country in Africa. They're accepting US dollars. So now in them having a US dollar in their country, the US dollar is being circulated because of a government that can't support itself with its own money. So they needed a US government in God we trust to make a manifestation, to make a mold. That's what they needed. In God we trust. So that became the mold, that became the manifestation. Yeah. So now they're trusting in that white man. You're trusting in Ben Franklin and Andrew Jackson and Thomas Jefferson and George Washington and Alexander Hamilton and Ulysses Grant. That's who you're trusting in. Yeah, those guys trusting in that white man. That white man. And all the Negroes, all they want to do is become president and be on money. I want to be on money. I want to be president. But let me tell you something, bro. Those Asians, they don't give a damn about being president. They just give a damn about their community. And as they have their community, they have their vote. And according to how they act, more of them can come in the country. Oh, we don't have a problem with Asians. Stop Asian hate. Stop Asian hate. And it means to bring more of them into the country. Stop Asian hate. So you're stopping Asian hate by saying stop Asian hate. And you're stopping it by driving out whites. White replacement theory. And those kites are going to act as white. Now you have kites and Chinese and all these races of Mongoloid, all these races of Asian in New York State and California. And those have the most electoral votes. So in New York State, they want to do stuff like New York City. They want to do stuff like enable illegal immigrants to vote. To vote. You can vote. You're a legal immigrant. You can vote. You live here. You pay taxes. You can vote. They pay taxes because the government needs the money. They're not citizens. They don't need to vote. Who told you that? Who gave you that idea? Where'd you get that from? From them? The illegal immigrants paying money? An illegal immigrant and an immigrant does not need to vote. Get that through your head. Get that through your mind. And you need to resist it. An immigrant does not need to be enabled to vote. I don't care if he's a bourgeois immigrant, if he is not doing the necessary to become a citizen and becomes a citizen, he does not need to vote until he becomes a citizen. That right there. See, motherfucker, I would have my royalty, but I still would set up regions where people will vote. Have governors and mayors. And that's like, if I'm taking New York State, why would I not have more than one governor? I'm breaking up the state in different regions, and I'm making states within the state. 18 million people. 18 million people. So I'm making states in this state, and it's going to be a country. Yeah, 18 million people might make 2 different states, 3 states, split it, and give it a governor. And it's a country. The Empire State, come on in here. Yeah, driving some people out and bringing in some people. And I'm doing it by mastery. See, motherfucker, bro? Slavery is a choice. Oh, I'm a single man. I think I want to go down in slavery for 7 years and get the word of a master and see if I can storm out in these 7 years. Oh, you want to storm out 7 years. You want to be under the subjugation of a master. And you want to know that 1,000 lashes done unto a fool is not the amount of a rebuke done to a wise man. And you ready to go down in slavery. And you're going to make it about your eyes and your teeth. Yeah. And when you go down in slavery, a slave master give you a wife when it's time for you to leave in slavery. If you don't love your wife, if you don't love your slave master, or if you just want to leave and get from slavery, you can't take your wife and your children with you. You can't do that. It's your choice of slavery. You can't choose a choice of slavery and then get freed after 7 years and say, oh, behold, I have found a wife in slavery. Now I'm taking this wife and my children from slave master. Hell no, it don't work like that. You went down in slavery. The slave master gave you a wife to encourage you to stay in slavery. Your 7 years passed, and you said you didn't want to stay with that woman. You didn't want to stay with that kid that you raised. So slave master gonna keep the kid. Slave master gonna keep the wife, and you going out of slavery. Yeah. So a lot of people will see this and they'll get scared. They put it on a broadcast. Cameron, you making slavery into a choice. Then you making it about shrewd, and you say it's not good to be shrewd, because shrewd is evil in character, evil in nature. Yeah, it's evil in nature, evil in character. Shrewd. Now you see a slave master. That's a slave master. Motherfucker, a slave master can have you down in a hut and you work in the field growing some wheat, and you could be living a life. Motherfucker, you giving your food, your water, and your clothing, and you're also giving your shelter. You could be living a life. You never know. You never know. It's slavery. 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 You could be living a life and having by clean and unclean foods. And it was a choice. It was a choice. Yeah. Slavery. So those people who went in slavery by means of clean and unclean foods, they will be treated with a little bit more of an iron fist. But people who go down by means of a choice, they're like the indentured servant. Yeah. That's why that Irish feels so good. The Irish was given the terms of a Hebrew slave in ancient Israel. That's what the Irish was given. And they did their indentured servitude for yet 7 years. So now they feel like they a little better because they got the statute of a Hebrew slave as you would treat him as he was in Israel. So they feel like they're a little better. The Irish. Yeah. They feel like they're a little better, the Irish. So that's what's going on, Bucko. Hey, that's what's going on. So a government needs to conduct its wealth, and it needs to get wealth. Before it conducts wealth, it needs to get wealth, and then it needs to conduct its wealth. So you just put in money in the bank, and the bank does nothing but protect your wealth and save you from getting robbed. That's not good for the country. That's not good for the bank. See, what the bank wants to do, the bank wants to find a way to charge you little fees, even according to you being poor, your negligence, your overdraft, or you need a loan and you got to pay back the bank interest. Well, my friend, the bank got to find a way to make money. Well, really, my friend, so if the book of law of Lords said that you cannot charge interest to a brother, or you can't charge interest to a servant of God, as God established the platform, then you got to find a way to charge those fees and little shit like that. Because somebody can lose their land and they can get their land back. My fucker is banking. It's law. The bank is the bench. I'm doing some things, and you think me sitting in my house talking on the phone and researching, talking on Zoom, you think that's not fair, but you couldn't do what I do. You're not ready to sit on the phone with Wells Fargo after you study some things and you talking to some executives of some companies about banking, bringing a book of the law of the Lord. You're not ready to do that, so you can't sit here and criticize my life and what I chose to do with my life, what I had to do to get where I am, what I had to do to get where I'm going. You can't sit around and talk about my life, because it's my life, and everything that I did, I had to do to get where I am and to get where I'm going. Yeah. See, God has been good to me. I was thinking about this some weeks ago. God has been good to me, but the people who see me have been wicked to me. So a lot of people will see what happened in my life. They know what's going to become in my life, but people will see what happened in my life, and they will say, how can you have so much faith in God? And I'll say, well, I have faith in God, not only because I know him, but because God has been good to me, and I give him all the glory. God has been extremely good to me. God has given me wisdom, and it's not mine. It's from God. God gave me my mind, and I'm not wise in my own eyes. My God would teach me prudence, and I'm not prudent in my own eyes. But he would teach me prudence and reservations and law. And then he would just show me that the bank is the bench. So now I got this mode of slavery. Somebody would go in slavery by choice. Things get so bad and they go in slavery by choice, and they down in slavery for 7 years. And if they get a wife in slavery, they can't just up and leave with their wife. But if you go down in slavery with your family, you can up and leave with your family after 7 years. Yeah. And slavery, you being free before 7 years, could be about you losing an eye or a tooth. And then if two men get in a quarrel, and one of the men are made bedridden, motherfucker, but you supposed to pay that man back all the days that he was not able to work and he was laying up in a bed. But a slave, motherfucker, but if you knock a slave out, ain't nothing gonna happen to you. But if he lose an eye or a tooth, he can be made free. So if that slave was sitting up in a bed for some days because you whooped his ass, only thing that can happen to you was was nothing. But if you killed the slave, then you would have to pay a penalty. But you pay a penalty for a free man that you beat up, a free man. So it's an eye for eye, tooth for tooth, retribution for retribution. Yeah. So if you go out and you just punch somebody in the face, you supposed to get punched in the face. And if you punch somebody in the face so hard that you make them get bedridden in the bed, motherfucker, then you supposed to pay them back retribution for how long they was in the bed. So this law was made so you don't go and punch somebody in the face. Yeah. That's why the law was made. So you don't go and act bizarre and primitive and just start hauling and punching people in the face. But when you can come to understand people selling you out, that's out the window and you got to preserve your land. And now you can come to understand a fuckface. So a government goes out and it has to get wealth. After it has to get wealth, it has to conduct the wealth. You can't just say, oh, this is now a government. You can't do that. You can't do that without establishing borders. Let me correct that right. And when you establish borders, the land is a land. The land has to cultivate crop. And if the land is not cultivating crop, you got to extract crop. And trees are a crop. You chopping trees, building houses, that's a crop. But how do people get the money to build that house? Well, a lot of people, before things really started, they was building their own house. So they got the land and they had to build their own house and they had to know how to do it. But there was an asshole that started building other people's houses and he got workers. So the people forgot how to build houses and they hired somebody to build houses. And then they started selling so many houses and then buying and selling. Then came your realtor and your broker, and now you have the industry. And that's how industry is made. That's how industry is made, bucko. That's how industry is made, bucko. So now you see in industry, you see how money is extracted from the land or is cultivated from the land, or you get it from a foreign government. Money. So, motherfucker, you could put your money in a foreign government because a foreign government can't upkeep their own government due to them not having the money, them being so much debt. So in order to pay off their debt, motherfucker, they getting more debt. So they start paying off debt, and they're paying a tax with an interest on money that's not their money, but circulating in their government infrastructure. But this government shit goes so deep. Yeah. It government. This government shit goes so deep. It's government. Hey, yeah. But government has to go out and make money. And it has to make means for wealth to circulate. After it goes out and makes money, the wealth starts circulating. And the government has made money, and now the government has its mode. Yep. And the government is the government. It's the government. It's the government. Ronald Reagan, anytime you see the government knocking on your door, that's when you know something is wrong. Ronald Reagan. Government knocking on your door like Jehovah's Witness. Government ready to just walk in your house like they welcome. Hell nah, motherfucker, bro. Motherfucker, you better put this government in check before it's too late. The only way you can put the government in check is with your damn gun and you speaking. Now you see the fact of having your own house and you don't want to be in no commune. Hell no, because somebody can get let in your building. Now they sitting outside your door in a commune. Or somebody can't just sit on your property, but they can sit by your door in a commune. And you just around people. You in like a colony of ants in a commune. Colony of ants in a commune. They got their walls and shit. A fucking commune. See, motherfucker, our neighborhood can have a neighborhood committee. When one person keep their house down, that committee could go after that house. That committee and start handing out fines and all that bullshit. And I don't know how far they can take it in it being a neighborhood committee, but you see it, you understand it. Before somebody move in the neighborhood, they can sign a contract. And that all happened by means of the neighborhood and that damn realtor. I don't know. I ain't never bought a house in no neighborhood and just me, myself. I'm just coming here giving you variables.